Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining me. So I was listening to Keir Starmer, who was addressing the one of the committees, as he has to do at time to time, and they were putting questions to him, and you could see that sometimes he was squirming a little bit uncertain as to what they were trying to get at, or he kept trying to go over the same things again and again to try and answer questions in a way that he wanted them to be answered. And one of the things that struck me the most about anything else was his desire for power. This just seems like the way it is, and I know you could say that about any Prime Minister, but it's just the way he worded things which was concerning to me, and I think to a lot of other people as well. For example, he was talking about building these 1.5 million homes over the next 5 years, and the committee's member said to him, "Look, are you sure you can meet this target of 1.5 million pound homes?" And he was like, "Yeah, I think we can." He said, we're going to leave it in the hands of the local authorities. They've got to come up with a plan of how many they can build and where they can build them. And he said, look, we're going for brown land first, then grey land, and then, we'll go further than that. And he was talking about how he's confident that this can happen. And he says that if local authorities don't come up with a plan, then the government will step in and take over. And I'm just thinking to myself, that's probably ultimately what he wants to do. He wants the government to take over because he wants to just push this through without really thinking about it. And I don't think they have really thought about it. And that was just very telling for me, the fact that he said, well, if the local authorities don't do it, we're going to come in and we're going to do it anyway. And I think that's one of the issues that kind of worries me a little bit, is about obviously building on certain parts of, I'm talking about areas where you've got, natural habitats for various animals and things like that. And I realise that we do need houses, and the houses need to be built, but you also have to strike that balance. And he did say, he said, well, of course we're worried about the environment, of course we're worried about these things, but he said there's a balance that has to be struck. And I agree, there has got to be a balance struck. But the way he was saying it, he was kind of saying, well, this isn't it's not that we can't have these things being delayed for 10-20 years. We have to push them through, and so we have to come up with a way of getting these through without having all of these hold-ups and stuff like that. So you can see that, yeah, he says he's worried about the environment, he's worried about nature, but he's not really. I think what he's worried about is getting these homes built. And I did think to myself, actually, that maybe because he said repeatedly that these measures of this targets for houses, he's going to put them in the hands of the local authorities to come up with a plan to do it. You can see what's going to happen in 5 years' time. They're not going to meet that plan of 1.5 million homes. And all that's going to happen is they're going to come back to him and say, well, we tried, but the local authorities didn't do their part. The local authorities screwed it up. They're the ones that made a mess of it. We did our best. So you can see the excuse already coming now. If they don't meet those targets, they're going to blame the local authorities. They're not going to blame themselves and say they did it wrong. But also, you've got to think about the skill situation. Now, he's convinced that there's going to be enough skills out there to do it. But surely some of these skills are going to take, even if you have someone starting a course today, it's going to take sometimes 2-3 years to train to be good at what you're doing. And that already takes 3 years out of the 5 years they've got to do it. So, and they've already said there's not enough skilled tradespeople out there to build all of these homes. So I'm not entirely sure that he's thought about this in any real sense of the word. I think he's just plucked a number out of his head and said, we're going to go for that. We're going to build 1.5 million homes. And, he's already talked about various other things in this committee, and about how he wants to, he was talking about the inheritance tax, for example, and the select committee were actually going on to him quite a lot about the fact that he's put this measure in of it. It's got to be over £1 million for them to start paying tax on it, and that cuts out a lot of the farmers that could be affected are not going to be affected. And the select committee said that the unions have been trying to talk to Rachel Reeves about this, but she won't meet with them. And he's like, well, I've met with them already, and they said, well, are you going to say to Rachel Reeves that she's got to meet them? And he was like, well, I'm not going to discuss that. And so these are the things that to me sound the alarm bells, because I think that he's going, there's definitely something going on He's got this power trip going on. He wants these things to be forced through. He's not prepared to change it. He said that in the select committee that the policy has been done. He's not going to pick apart the budget, and he's just got this laser vision of the things that he wants to do, and it doesn't really matter whether it's going to work or not. He's just got this idea and he's going to go with it. But that's just my thoughts. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section. I would love to hear them, and I'll see you next time.